Just wanted to welcome everyone, and we're really excited to bring this offering for this year. Really, the goal here is to celebrate our 40th. Pretty exciting. And the 40 for 40 is just that. We're trying to build 40 frames for 40 years, small timber frames to share with the local community and local nonprofits. So it's our way of giving back and hopefully trying to um, build more interest in a smaller scale projects. They're a way for members to engage. It's not a high bar of entry. We want to get as many people involved as possible and hopefully generate some new interest in timber framing in our local communities. We want to also cultivate partners with other nonprofits and towns. This is a great way for us to kind of introduce what we do by giving away a small frame. It's a great way for companies to help support and sponsor and create these things. And really, we just want to inspire our members to participate in community building projects in the future as volunteers, instructors, local heroes. And ultimately, we just want to do some good on a smaller scale. But I think if we're all taking a bite and building a small thing, I mean, we can just sprinkle timber frames all over to a good cause. So we're really excited to, I think we're going to be able to do way more than 40, but at least we have probably 25 already people committing to do 25. So, and that's only January, whatever today is, the 7th, 8th,
Eight.
uh, 8th. So anyway, Chris, you want to talk a little bit more? Nuts and bolts?
Yeah. So we're looking at doing this as kind of, as Autumn said, celebrating or finding a unique way to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the Guild, and really, kind of expand our reach into communities, remind people or let people know that we are here and this is what we do. Really trying to showcase the our membership and what we can do for communities and nonprofits alike. Uh, the goal of this, trying to um, get more people involved, you know, make people aware of the community building projects. But we wanted to do it in such a way that anybody can do it. Uh, so the frames that we're looking at doing or trying to promote with this are small scale frames. This was kind of scale of the projects was born out of the scale of the garden shed that was completed at the conference in Ann Arbor last October, with the goal being to keep the square footage of the shed under the square foot trigger that requires a permit, to make it a little easier and more convenient for people to undertake. The other thing to driving this is scale of design and simplicity of design to make it so that a shop or a small group of people led by an individual can accomplish one of these frames in a long weekend. This is not something that we're looking for individuals or shops to commit a month to doing, even a week. Um, the goal of this is hey, let's get this done. Let's boom, and there it is. And it's the kind of the wow, that was amazing and fun. Um, let's do another one, but maybe let's make it a little bigger next time. So we've got some designs already up, or some images of designs already up on the guild website, and we've got I think there's 5 up there currently. There's 3 or 4. There's a link in the chat. You could probably see it on your screen there. Um, there are another couple coming. Um, and as was mentioned earlier, we are working on the guidelines and kind of all the info pages that will be coming out in the next few weeks. We really want to try and have all that info available to everybody to download and work with by the end of the month, uh, so everybody can start making their plans to do this. Uh, if you look at those designs and uh, don't find anything that really suits your fancy, or um, you have a design in mind, by all means, you're welcome to bring your own design. Um, we are asking that if you do choose to go with your own design, that you submit a drawing or concept to us. We want to be able to promote your project across the Guild Media website as well, so that we can bring notoriety to your group, the community organization you're doing it for, any suppliers, volunteers, or donors that you have sourced. We really want to, increase awareness across the country of all these people doing all these things. Um, this is where are we at now? Yeah, I think that's what I've got on my little list there. I think that was most of it. So yeah, let's see what we've got. I think we've got interest in we have some potential interest in materials. We're still trying to find sponsors and donors and anybody that can do help with this. But our mission on the guild side is to promote your project and to help with your outreach, and get you
Mhm.
noticed, and you help us get noticed.
Yeah. And we'd also like you to document your project really well with lots of great photography, because we are hoping to bring all this together into a 40 for 40 publication, um, showcasing all of these projects. And we want all the great photos and the feel goods. So we definitely want to try to record and tell the story, and then also getting that to the staff to, as you're working on it, to be able to publish for you as we go on social media and such. Allison, do you want to talk a little bit about how you want to see this process for people who are interested, where to go, how to sign up? Because all of you, I hope, will sign up or sign someone up to take on one of these projects. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Allison.
so the link is in the chat, and we've got registration open, and basically you can choose from a project that's already we already have design and shop drawing for. Um, you can share your sponsors there, the nonprofit that you're going to donate the frame to, or whatever organization you're planning to give it to. Staff is going to be available to provide some support. And we do have some suppliers who have reached out, um, or that we've been talking with about providing materials. So there is a lot of interest from our company members who are suppliers in supporting this as well. And really, one of the big things we see an opportunity for is developing a better pipeline for community building projects, because we'd like to expand that and deepen that well. Um, and it also gives members an opportunity to put a hand in terms of managing a small project with a group of people who don't already work together, um, or teaching. And so, we're looking on several fronts to expand the capacity of the community building project, and this seems like a good way to get started and let people have a taste and get excited about it. So I will drop my email in the chat as well. It's also on the um, landing page that I posted into the chat, and still more people coming. And then we also have a community discussion group on Facebook specifically for this. So I will drop a link in here as well for that.
I'd love to open it up for your questions so we have plenty of time to hear from you all. Enthusiasm, skepticism, but mainly enthusiasm and raising your hand that you are signing up for some projects in your community.
So Dick, right now the plans do not include piece drawings. These they're simply dimensioned. with timber sizing done. Piece drawings, the designs have been generously donated. Um, and piece drawings on they're relatively simple. Piece drawings could be generated easily from those, but that is not the plan to include those in the plan. Hi, Todd Herzog.
Hey, Chris Newman.
What's your question?
It sounds to me like you're saying that if we want to do one of these projects, and I've got a couple potentially in mind here, that really all the logistics and sourcing of materials and everything we need to do, we pretty much need to be the lead and take care of all that, or there's some resources available from the guild for that type of stuff.
So the as far as organization, that was the other thing with this being something that could be accomplished in a weekend. To try and keep this small scale. Looking at a couple of the small frames we've got, some of these could be done in a couple days. So your overhead, your lift on that end is basically, either find people locally that can go home to their own beds at night and you provide them with a lunch, or work with your community organization to provide you with a lunch to be able to keep them going through the day. Um, you know, the we're hoping, and we had, I have talked with a couple suppliers and have reached out to a few more about being able to source material. Some of these frames are designed to be able to be built out of material you might have in your boneyard if you're a shop. You've got pieces left over from projects that you can put together. So that's, we're kind of looking at that. We have had some discussions with suppliers about the potential for reduced or donated materials, but that hasn't been finalized yet. So I'm unsure where that's going to end up. But we, as a guild, have a pretty large, reach and some a good knowledge base of suppliers in areas around the country. So we could probably put you in touch with someone as well.
Does
Um, Go ahead.
uh, does the guild have any type of, for lack of a better word, donor package that we could present to a prospective donor who's going to provide materials or something to us?
That do we have that?
Not yet, but we will.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
we'll have a whole
Yeah.
packet. Yeah.
so that's again is one of the reasons for this meeting tonight. This idea, we've got it, fairly far along, but we're reaching out to our membership to see what else, we as an organization can provide to you, to make this, move. And that's a great idea, and I think we can look at doing something like that. What are the benefits for you donating material to this and sponsoring this? You working with these organizations, either community-based or nonprofit organizations. It's basically a mini scale, community build. So yeah, we should be able to put something together with that. Thank you for that suggestion.
Also,
Uh,
question from Dick Schmidt here on the chat, and this kind of ties in. Do you plan any signage or other means of identifying TFG sponsorship of these frames? As part of kind of the packet of how to do this project, we can give you logos and create some PDF signage that you can print out. So we'll kind of put all this together in a kit, so it's easy, little how to run a mini project in your community with all the signage and all that stuff. So Allison's going to take care of all that for us. Who else? Who else wants to do one?
Stephen Morrison.
Stephen Morrison.
Well, I was just going to ask if we could have a flyer to give to the organization that we go chat with. Something that
I
would just
think
sort
that
of
was
explain the parameters, and that way we could leave something with them to pitch it to the rest of their group.
yeah. I
Great.
think so. I think we can include that in the information packet. that we expect to be putting out in the next couple of weeks. That is, like I
And
said,
a
that is
donor.
current and yeah,
And for
and
the hand of donors. So if
yeah.
you're going to your local sawmill, hey, here's how awesome we are. Please donate the timber list for this kind of thing.
Yeah, I've got a couple of projects, Scott, that I don't mind sharing with you, the group. One we're going to have a rendezvous up at Hidden Valley again this year, up in New Hampshire, and they have proposed and have apparently permits for small mini pavilions, 12 by 16s, like three small bents, braces, roof rafters, very simple, very easy. Very fortunate also that they also have a sawmill on site. It's going to be rough. It'll be so easy. And I have my young engineering friend turning those plans over into a timber frame instead of just a conventional build. We're also going to do, so there's three of those. You can count them as one as far as I'm concerned. At Hogue Base, where we did a pavilion in the Boy Scout property in Walpole in 2019, a pavilion, we are going to put up two, at least, three-sided shelters, like an Adirondack shelter that are made of logs, only these will be timber frame and boarded. Really simple. The scouts can help. I can find enough timber, the wood. I'm not worried about that. And I can get it donated. I'm very fortunate. I know a lot of people, and I have no trouble getting timber frames to just stop by and say, what can I do?
Nice.
And so I'm at a bit of an advantage there. But I've also mentioned to Jackson or anybody else, and anybody else that's doing one of these 40 or whatever, how many, I'll definitely donate the pegs for what that's worth. And
Thank you.
if there's any need in some, yeah, I suppose there would be in this kind of construction.
We kind of still have to hold them together, Scott.
Yeah. So, and the other thing, I am now getting connected with a lot of the younger generation, not always younger, but even middle age and some old guys that taking these classes at Harvard School, and they right up 2 miles away. So they come down and visit the shop, and I visit with them, and I connect with some, and some I take fishing or what. No matter what, there's a connection there, which I am connected with three kids they're in their probably close to 30 or maybe in their early 30s that are down near Harper's Ferry. So I thought, hey, you guys they're very enthusiastic when they've taken these classes. They want to go home. They have other jobs, but they're dabbling in this timber frame stuff.
Mhm.
And that's a great time to keep on them. So these three guys are real excited. And I said, hey, why don't you try to put up a shelter on the AT? Well, as it turned out, I contacted that there's actually an organization that oversees the AT, and I found them and I talked to them, and they don't they have shelters everywhere they want on the AT. However, they do have to be upgraded or remove the junker ones and new ones put up. So they are actually checking that out as far as maybe that's a possibility. However, when I showed these three guys the video of my pictures of the small shelters that go over a picnic table or something, they were all excited about that. Oh, we can stop, we can check with the schools anywhere. So you got that enthusiasm. It's nice to be able to tap into that. And so those are, I think. Oh, and my friend Gretchen at the guild office has a granddaughter that's at a. I'm not sure what this type of school it is, but it may be not public school, but they could use a little shelter
Mhm.
pavilion type structure on. It's the same thing. I would send anybody that wanted that picture of that shelter that we're talking about doing at Hogue Bay. Well, no, at Hidden Valley, to anybody that would like to see it. Right, and so that's what we're doing. And as far as the sponsor stuff goes, I wouldn't mind some guidance on that, because I'll tell you right now, not everybody is capable of going to somebody and coming back with a positive result. And
Yeah.
and that's so the the better informed they are going into that, the more likely they will be of being successful. So that's my
Well,
deal.
no, I then and that input is greatly appreciated. That looking as we draft that, that kind of request for sponsor, request for donor items to keep in mind, to spell out clearly what it is that that they're doing, what they're helping achieve, and what kind of reciprocity they can expect from us as an organization. And we'll do everything that we can, and including getting their name out there on all our social media channels. Anything that we can help with as far as guidance and press releases in local communities, to do that, to get their name out locally, as well as nationally through our reach.
You know, for a minute, just let me interject. One of the things I do when I approach somebody is I tell them exactly what it's for.
Mhm.
It's a nonprofit. We have a lousy to no budget. What's it going to cost? I always go with that first,
Yep.
because I'm not going to say, "Hey, will you donate this?" Because, well, yeah, I don't know you from nothing, unless they do. But I mean, if you ask, "What's it going to cost?" then they'll give you a number. You may go to 3 or 4
Mhm.
sawmills before you get a better number. But then
Yep.
if that's what it's going to cost, that's what it's going to cost.
Yep.
And that's as far as it's going to go. Anyhow,
Yeah,
excuse me.
that's a good
That's an
suggestion.
excellent point.
Mhm.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it.
And with these structures being so small, the price tag shouldn't be very high as well. So we're hoping to get this, a large lumber company, it probably wouldn't even make a dent in their process. But yeah, we can definitely help with that when you're ready for that.
This is Ellen.
Rob? Oh,
Um,
Ellen. Ellen.
Hi, Ellen.
Hi. I am starting a small cabin right now, which will be a community project, but it's not a weekend thing. It'll be a 2 year thing. So I don't know only because I'm funding the materials, and it's going to be a teaching thing, and I have community members. And I don't have a place for it, but it is most likely going into the nonprofit organization where I work. So
Nice.
it's not going to
We
be
could definitely help get the word out, Ellen.
I'm going to be
And if
working
you're,
with Alicia Spence,
Mhm.
and it's basically going to be Will Beamer's Heartwood,
Design, yeah.
which
Yep.
I've already built once, and but it's going to have modifications on it.
Mhm.
So I'm working with
Nobody's ever done that to that frame.
so I'm working with Alicia on that.
Nice.
Excellent. Yeah, we'll
Well, if
do
we
what
can
we can
you.
to help you promote that as well, and generate interest and help
And
there.
I'm trying to get interest in a pavilion in a park where I just built a kiosk, and they have picnic tables and stuff and no shelters. So I'm working with the local conservation commission and tree board to get a pavilion in that park.
Well, that sounds like a community build project.
A small community in Maine.
Well, perfect. Maine is wonderful most times of the year.
All times a year. Except when it floods.
That's well.
Rob, did you have something to say?
Well, I just wanted to kind of reach out to everybody, and I'll ask the big questions, and it's hard because I know what my screen's showing right now, but as a little kind of, we've got how many people right now? 67 people, right? How about just a quick show of hands? Who's had the opportunity to participate in one of our larger community building projects? All right. That's pretty impressive, right? And
That is.
that's exciting, right? Many of us are here tonight because we've had the experience of building larger community projects and traveling all over. And there's a lot of folks that have traveled, including myself, right, across our continent. But one of the goals for these 40 for 40 frames is to keep things at home, right? And to make them accessible for everybody. And I just want to emphasize that to everybody that's here is that we've got great projects coming out this year, and we have the opportunity to show people in our own smaller areas. Like I'm in the bottom of Ontario, and there's a couple of us at timber frame, but so many people are saying, I always want to do that, but I can't go far away. And this is the opportunity that we can do that with. And that's, for me, that's really important. And I'm sure there's a lot of other folks that feel the same way. Um, Even though, as Chris was saying, all of the designs that we have right now have been drawn and donated, many of us, including myself, also have the ability, if you're curious and say, I just don't have the kind of the extra time to put together a timber list, we can do that. We can put together a quick timber list if you want to just run with what we have. And so that way, when you walk out to your local sawmill, you can just say, here's what I need. Because many of us have different experience levels, and there are a handful of us that are here tonight, and I'm more than happy to help anybody if you need a little extra resources outside of that package. And it's just one of those things. I'm excited about it. We've got a couple between my area and across the province to do a few of these 40 frames, including, because I know I'm going to do it, I'm going to plug our Ontario Guelph rendezvous. We're going to do a 40 for 40 here in Ontario at the Guelph Bridge. It's exciting, but
Wow.
I had to.
Years ago, the guild used to have teaching projects of a small shed, and I can't tell you how many people who are now members of the guild took that class and joined the guild because of it.
Mhm.
Yep.
And went on to build their own other sheds.
Yeah, I'm really excited about being able to introduce this to more and more people in our local communities, and hope this kind of grassroots um, movement really is going to get timber framing into the communities and different people who might not have had access otherwise. So thank you, Rob. That was really well put. There's a team, there's a lot of people here that are going to be kind of help wrangling all of this, and we will post that listing on the webpage, who you could go to get some help with this. So it's not all just Allison, so she's not overrun. There's a team like Chris, myself, Rob. I think who else on this? Yeah, Jackson, of course. I think Greg also is available to help.
That's great.
So we've got a
Yeah,
group.
which one? The younger.
Ah, not junior, but the younger.
The younger, yes.
Yeah. Got it.
Any more questions or comments or enthusiasm sharing?
Robert.
Will?
Robert's got his hand up.
Hang on. Okay. All right, Robert, then Will.
So you may or may not be aware, all of you, that we are putting, well, as with the Guild, the Log Building Association is putting a conference in October. It'll be after the late October Guild conference in Washington. Ours will be at the very end of October, beginning of November in Canmore, Alberta. But I'm already started discussions with the local timber frame company, Woodpecker Timber Frames, to collaborate. And there's a lot of community need and projects. It's a lot of neat areas in the mountain. So I actually have a meeting scheduled with them this week still, and I will be bringing up the topic of this community build 40 for 40, something small. They are also going to participate in our conference as well. We're going to be doing some hybrid structures. And so, I'm going to lean towards sort of a hybrid raw log timber frame simple project though, but that's where I'm heading with my interest and contribution to the Guild.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I can't wait to see what comes to fruition there.
Yeah, Dan, Flynn.
Hey, good to see you again, Chris.
Good to see you as well.
Yeah, so I've been talking with a group of folks. I'm really fortunate to have a little pocket of timber framers right around where my shop is in kind of in Fairview, North Carolina. And we were really hit hard by Helene. Um, and I've been talking with Stoll Creations and George Morrison. And, so for those who don't know me, I retired from the Ashford Fire Department, worked with Buncombe County Fire Departments all along, and we lost a firefighter during Helene. He was washed away in a mudslide. And so we have a really, really, really good opportunity, I think, to put like and Jim Rogers, of course, suggested like a 12 by 16 pavilion. And, we have a location, we've got, so I have a sawmill, we host some workshops. And so we can do the piece by piece drawings. We can do all of that stuff. My question is, so if I was going to approach, so my thoughts are maybe, so this firefighter worked for two different fire departments. And so it's kind of interesting, but we have a community training center, a Buncombe County community training center. And it was just dawned on me that might be a really cool place to put a pavilion up for, for eating while they're on break from training or whatnot. Anyway, so my question, I guess, revolves around how do I approach folks? So like, I don't want to give them something that's going to cost them $5,000 to finish. Right. So if I were to donate the timbers and then donate the shop space, to donate the lunches for the weekend workshop, or maybe a couple of weekend workshops, I don't know, that's what we do. That's kind of how I am keeping my shop alive, is through workshops. So it works out pretty well. And if I were able to donate my shop space, my time, my even the timbers, how do I go about sourcing, say, the foundation? If it was just a pavilion, it wouldn't be too much, but like a foundation, but then like the roofing materials, we could give them a frame, but they would still need to finish it. Also, maybe some heritage oil, something like that to finish the timbers so that it weathers well.
I'll definitely donate all the wood finish for these projects.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so
Okay.
just like Scott donating pegs.
Yeah.
Got you covered on the wood finish.
Yeah. And I guess what I want to say is like everybody else, just kind of trying to tread water and keep my head above water here, is like, I would love, one thing I can definitely donate is my time and my space that already exists, and timbers, which is interesting from Helene, being able to pick up so much wood, so much wood. So all the timbers, it would just, I could donate the time milling the timbers. But what I don't want to get into is to now having to pay for roofing finishes, that kind of thing. So if I could get any kind of suggestions on how to approach local companies, that's not something I've ever done really.
And Dan, I think that's, was one of the things that kind of that Todd alluded to with his question, and was also alluded to about how to approach donors and sponsors, and Scott mentioned as well how you approach them to help do this, and that's something that we are going to work on. Guideline, introduction letter to who we are, why we do what we do, and here's how you can contribute. It's not a guarantee that you will get, that you'll get free stuff or even reduced stuff, but it's what we can do to help you do that. It's at least a method of introduction to get the conversation started.
Yeah.
Right.
That's absolutely perfect. And because what I was thinking is also too, is I want my message to be consistent with the rest of the 40 for 40 frames. So
Right.
I think that package would be really helpful.
Yeah.
To say, okay, so now I can formulate this conversation.
Yep.
And again, we're looking at roofing materials. What's that going to be potentially? What would be lovely if we could do tongue and groove, and then do some just roofing materials. I mean, I think we could get that.
You could do tongue and groove. You could just do skip sheathing. You just do board sheathing. You got a mill. You can make boards. Then you just need underlayment and material. Will Denton, you have your hand up.
Mm-hmm. So one thing I just wanted to talk real quick about Dan's comment. Go to your local suppliers. A lot of people are looking for tax write-offs. Unfortunately, I mean, depending on timing, whether they're a fiscal, a calendar year or fiscal year, they like to write shit off. and so you can go and say, hey, we're looking for this stuff. Can you make a donation? You can write it off and you're benefiting the community. Those three things companies love. The other one I wanted to just really, I've done a few guild projects. So we're looking to do these all based on donations and the guild not taking any money in from these and not having contracts or whatnot, just volunteer time, volunteer effort, donations, contributions, etc.
That is correct. The guild will provide publicity and information, some of the designs, and then, obviously the publicity for your shop, your individual, your community organization, and your community, and any sponsors and donors that you have. And that is, one of the reasons that in order to do this, we do have the registration form on the website, so that we know who you are, who you're doing this for, and where it's being done, so that we can make sure that, that we give the proper shout out. Yeah, thank you. So I saw, Todd, you had your question up, and then I saw another question come through
on the chat.
The chat. So Todd, what you got?
I'm kind of looking at this and trying to figure out lining up resources and things like that, which seems to be a common theme here today. And I'm wondering if Reddit or something like Reddit, where we could have a closed group that people were kind of either exchanging ideas or resources or things like that. I've got a sawmill. If somebody's close and has logs, I can saw stuff, but I don't necessarily know if I'm going to find. I don't have enough timber framing friends around here. I mean, Chris is about as close as they come.
So Todd, we did start a group. There is a Facebook group, Timber Framers Guild 40 for 40, that is going to end up as kind of a clearinghouse. All in one location for people to meet and discuss ideas, or try and coordinate, collaborate locally. I just see we're getting some other suggestions. Discord is free. Thank you, Kieran. The one thing that we are trying to do without overloading our incredible staff is utilize the social media resources that we have already. If we have somebody that wants to, open a Discord group and curate that, I'm sure that we could figure out a way to link that into other things. Similar, I don't know that we have a presence on Reddit, Allison. Thank you, Kieran. You better be careful what you volunteer for.
That's right.
If you're serious about doing that, we'll have someone reach out and get in touch with you on that. Thank you very much.
My concern, Chris, is that stuff gets a little out of control on Facebook sometime. I'll be nice about it. And things just disappear into the ether on Facebook. I'll see a post and come back and try to find it, and I can't find it again. So
Todd, this is a private group. It's not a public group.
Okay.
It will be, so if you register for this or want to be involved, you will be invited, and then you can search that group, and then you don't have to dig through the entirety of Facebook to find the post or the information that you're looking for.
Okay. Well, that's okay.
All right.
Yep, that helps.
All right. Yeah, thank you. Tim Brennan. I see your lips moving, but we haven't got you unmuted yet. We're give us half a second here.
Brennan.
There we go, Brennan. There we are.
Okay,
you're good.
I don't know how they put that hand.
So I don't have a project for 40 by 40 in mind, but I have recently been approached by a friend who's on a board of a local land trust, and they have a project which is really just a glint in someone's eye at this point. And I put them off to talk about it to wait till after this meeting. So I don't think it's going to come together at all for 2025, but I'm wondering if I might be able to talk to them into something smaller for the 40 by 40, which I then can recognize as perhaps a catalyst for their use to get more interest from the community, donations for their bigger aspirations. So
to drive that towards a full scale community building project,
right.
which yes, that's one of the goals of this is to introduce the guild to communities and individuals on a small, manageable scale, so that they see what the value is, and then that hopefully will help drive the interest in partnering with the guild on future and larger projects. So absolutely, yeah, work
So
that along, and we'll support in whatever way we can.
right. Well, so everybody could think of it as a selling point for their own pitch.
Exactly.
Bigger things could come.
Rob, you just had your hand up.
Well, I wanted to kind of touch on what you were just mentioning there, Tim, which is that next week, just a little, community share. Next Wednesday night, we're doing another TFGLive event purely on community building projects. So it's actually going to touch base. Yeah, right. Thanks, Pat. That's exactly what we're talking about. So this is, we're trying to accomplish a number of things through our 40 for 40 projects, but next Wednesday night there are a handful of us that are going to do a live presentation as well on bigger community projects, highlight a couple of the past, and then also highlighting kind of the process that we go through between our guild staff and then our project committee as well. So that's really important. It's tonight's questions that keep coming around is that it's kind of a resource thing. And yes, when we talk about the concrete and yes, we kind of go through our local processes, that is following to our local heroes, to each of us in a way to help coordinate that and schedule that and just have open discussions with our community partners to say, if we can't get, something donated, then, we create potentially an extra opportunity within our community to say, hey, one weekend we can show up, dig some holes, do some footings and some piers, and then the next weekend we go through and we get to do that frame, right? And I think part of the information that we're going to generate in this package for everyone or to be able to share is really like here's the big picture, right? We're connecting in some of the dots for the frame opportunities and the awareness and the sponsorship promotion and the guild's support from it. But yes, there are costs that are going to fall back to our community partners and our local heroes like myself and like, everybody that's kind of thinking about this. That is a little extra legwork for us. And so, that there's no question about that one. It's just a matter of looking at the project as a whole and saying, this is what we can offer as a group to support that.
Great. Thank you, Rob. I wanted to make sure we didn't overlook Rich Walker's question on the chat. Is there a time period expected for the either start or finish date? We're trying to do this in this calendar year, so to be completed by the end of this year.
Yep.
Does that answer that question?
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah. Again, these are very, very small little building projects. Go next weekend to the bigger building projects conversation.
Yep. We don't want these to be daunting.
Yes. Scott, go ahead.
One thing I wanted to just share with all of you is that I do business with a lot of timber framers that aren't guild members.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them. I always ask them if they're guild members. I should offer them a 10% discount if they are guild members. But in any case, if anybody has a sawmill,
Sorry.
In any case, what I was getting at is, if you have a sawmill and you don't have a whole lot of timber framers around you, you'd be surprised you may have them. And if you contacted me, I could get you a number of names of timber framers near you, or they have tents, will travel, and they, even though they're not members of the guild, most of them that I know have a social conscience. So they don't. If you need timber framers, I got a feeling I can find them for you.
Yeah, I could also, especially on the West Coast. So if you need help looking for people, reach out to us. Thank you, Scott. It's kind.
Nice.
I saw another hand fly up at some point. Who was that?
Yeah, there was Mark. I'm trying to find where he's at. He didn't have a last name. It was just Mark. There he is. Baseball hat. Looks like almost like a thatch roof behind him, but it's hard to tell.
We can't hear you, Mark.
Do you see him, Gretchen? Black hat, glasses. There he is.
Does that work?
There is Mark.
Yeah, you're there.
You down
Yeah,
south, Mark?
yeah, I'm in Belize.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, it's -7 in Pembroke, Ontario there. So
Yep.
it's about 24 or about 78 here. So
Yeah,
that's more
that
better.
works.
For my fellow Ontarians, that's 24 degrees.
Yeah.
But I had to switch back because it's a British Commonwealth country here. So anyway, my comment was in Ontario, we can build a 150 square foot building
Yep.
without a permit. So
Yep.
we can, yeah. So I've done a design earlier this year, and I actually was reaching out to as a picnic shelter for a local. Theirs got destroyed, so I've been working on it, and now with this coming up, I might be able to make it work because obviously I know lots of contractors, so concrete and that sort of stuff. Have my own sawmill.
And those are the things that we're doing. If you work in the trades and you have good relationships with people to to see what they can do to be able to move the process along. I would just and you guys in Ontario just increased your square footage minimum to trigger a permit, right? It's about doubled.
Not quite double, but went from 100 to 50%. Well, and it's in metric, so it's actually
Square meter.
Yeah, it's actually bigger. I think it's like 153 or 154 square feet. So I stretch it as much as I possibly can.
Well, there you go.
But,
So to try and do these and in that range. I know that at least in the state of Michigan, residential is 200, commercial is 150, actually 160. But since most of these things end up being public use spaces, they fall under the commercial guidelines, at least in this state. And I'm pretty sure that is the national code here as well. So it was the thing in trying to keep these small enough so that you don't you have to go through plan review and and permitting and do this to streamline the process and make it so that they can be done this year instead of dealing sometimes with bureaucracy that can drag things out for a while.
I did have one request last year. I didn't have time for it. It was crazy busy, but it was a very unique project because it's the local community library, or not library, museum. It's like with the local cultural stuff, pioneer stuff. And they had a stump puller made out of hardwood, and it's falling apart, but it was timber framed, and it's not very big. There's actually the local community college built a timber frame to go over it, but the thing is completely falling apart and it needs to be rebuilt. And I actually sawed the timber for it, but have not had an opportunity to finish the design work on it. And of course, it wouldn't need a permit because it's just a rebuild and it's just going to be in a museum. So I'm going to approach them again now with that and see if they're interested in going ahead with it, because they'll obviously want to help. Everything's already done. The building's already built. We just have to build it. And I think it could make it into a weekend project too, if all the pieces were there, and it'd be simple cutting work. So I'll approach them again about that.
Awesome. Well, definitely wouldn't be a building, but it will be a timber frame. Well,
if that works for you guys.
You pursue either of those and make sure that you get online with the link that is in the chat. Make sure that anybody that's interested now either writes that down or check the guild website at tfguild.org.
I'm still waiting approval.
And if you
I already did.
And is that for the Facebook page? No, on the guild website. If you scroll down on the landing page, you will see at the bottom there is the 40 for 40. And if you click on that, it will take you to the page with the plans. It will take you to the registration and all the other information that we have currently. And as we develop more information and get these packets set, we'll be able to email those out or have links available on that page for you to download that material.
That's awesome. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yep,
Great comment.
It's been, yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
So we had an interesting comment come in. Thank you, Allison. There's that link again for those that missed it the first time. We had, and let me see if I can find this again. Oh goodness, technology worked with me. If we had somebody had posted in there that if you're a timber frame company, your previous clients might be a good source for donations. They've worked with you before. They know what you do. Companies that you've worked with on projects might be good sources for donations as well, because you have a working relationship with them. If you are not a contractor or kind of turnkey contractor and you just cut frames, then we will have the other information available to help you move that process along. Yes, Will Denton.
Just after that statement, and my previous comment about the guild, whether we do contracts or whatnot, do we follow the same guidelines that the guild follows for the big projects?
How so?
Are these all for nonprofits? Are these all for nonprofits? Are these all?
Yes.
What's the guidelines for that?
Well, they're supposed to be nonprofit or community based. Not all organizations. So you've got you may have a small farming group in your area, and they need a vegetable stand to sell their stuff by the side of the road. That's a community based need. They may not necessarily be a nonprofit, but it's community based.
But that's not viable under the guild's project code. So
we have our own guidelines for this, and that will be up on the website for kind of what we're going for here.
So these are the guild is not
ETA on that.
What's that?
The guild
Do we have a timeline for those guidelines?
Yes, we will have the guidelines are going to be complete before the end of the month. These are not guild run projects. The guild is not running these. These are run by individual shops. The guild is providing guidance and publicity, and that is the extent of our involvement. We are not so in order to kind of broaden the reach that we're trying to do, so that we don't have to work with just a registered nonprofit. It gives a little more flexibility to be able to do that. Hey, we've got some kids a couple miles from where I live that stand out and wait for the bus every morning, either in the pouring rain or the wind and the snow. And we've already had somebody approach about taking one of these structures and turning it into a bus shelter for them. Well, there's no organization directly associated with that group of people. This is just, a community-minded person that has taken it upon themselves to drive this project forward. And that's kind of that's the goal of these.
Yeah. the heart of the matter is we're trying to help. We are trying to help support in our community and look for areas, people, bus shelter, all these things. And maybe you are getting Will at so say for example, Heritage Finishes is going to sponsor one. We're going to build one in my shop, and then ultimately me and my company are responsible for insurances. So my liability for my business is going to be liable, for bringing people into my space kind of thing. Were you asking about that?
Similar to what you're talking about is I know a lot of you came out to the conference this year and some of you went to the project I'm working on. There's a bus station or a bus stop 20 feet from the entrance there. It is in a weird zone, which is technically an easement. So I guess it would be through the city, but technically it's also owned by a private company. So it's like this weird in between where it could be nonprofit, could be not, who knows. I'm just wondering if that'd be eligible for this sort of thing. Getting the community involved.
I think
putting a bus stop.
A bus shelter
on 12 Mile.
Yep, I think that absolutely would qualify for the in the spirit of this endeavor. That's on
the verge of nonprofit, private kind.
Is it helping your community?
And that's why
is it of community benefit?
Yes, it is.
If it is of community benefit, then that's the trigger for this, because this is a project that you or your organization would undertake on your own. This is not the guild is not going to, the guild is not going to run this.
That's why I asked, because the guild's projects are all nonprofit and this is kind of like in that gray area.
Nope. We are not running these projects. You as the individual or you as the shop are running these projects. We are asking that they're not, that you're not building a gazebo for an individual client. These are to be something community based, something that serves a community need, and a bus shelter for public transit absolutely qualifies for that.
Dennis, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Hey, thanks, Autumn. So I'm sorry, I'm coming in late here, and I may have missed a bunch of stuff that happened, but I think Chris from North Carolina was talking about getting community involvement and stuff, and as a member of Benson Woodworking for a number of years, we have gotten involved in a bunch of community projects, and early on, I think we built a gazebo for Alstead without having the roofer and the cider and the foundation guy. So I think I just wanted to say that it's important to get other community people involved with regard to the questions that Chris was asking about North Carolina, and that the community would want to be involved in that kind of stuff, putting the roof on, building the foundation, whatever the roof boarding, whatever the other stuff is, so that you're not left holding the bag, and that it also encompasses other groups within the community. This is not like just about the timber frame; it's about the whole shooting match.
Yep, that's exactly correct, Dennis. It's about everything and everybody working together.
And so, don't try to, if you're working on something, don't try to think of yourself as the savior for all of that, and incorporate other folks into the group, and it's a benefit for the whole community. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Dennis.
We could share some of the drawings that we have, if that would help you kind of get your mind around how small of structures we're talking about. So
I think the largest one footprint in the current catalog is 10 by 13 is the garden shed.
And what I'm thinking on those for my own imagination is one will be perfect to meet the smokehouse needs for a Native American organization that's doing first stuff in their community, and the other one will house the cider press for the local historic farmers museum that's working on getting up off the ground. So
Yeah.
they don't have to be what they're sold as. Their timber frames are, we all know, quite
Oh,
loved and flexible.
adaptable, and that's so very good. Thanks, Jackson. And that's correct. They're listed. They've been given titles. The drawings have. That doesn't mean they have to be that one. It's a bike shelter, or hey, maybe it's a bus shelter. Maybe it's this. You're not obligated to use the structure for what it's named. These are we have these out there for people to use and to take to show people, hey, look, what do you think about this? To give them ideas uh, about what we have, and to get an easy start.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, thanks for sharing
Yeah.
that.
Nice.
So there's the bike shed that you can see in there. It's a pretty cool little building. I think that one's what 6 by 12, 6 by. I think it's yeah. The dimensions will come up in a minute. Rob
Yeah,
keeps
so a
scrolling along that
bench
page.
cover tool, covered
Yep.
space for tools at a community garden.
Yeah, there's we have many options.
And then all the ones you guys are going to be submitting, hopefully, some new ideas.
And these were all the ones that were donated by Mike Begagne. Is that correct? Just to
That
make
is
sure.
those are the ones that are currently on the website. We're drawn and donated.
That son of a gun.
Yeah. Sneaky critter, that guy. Do we have any other questions or comments or Stephen Miller.
Steven.
I see you there.
Just what Dennis mentioned at the end, community chipping in and doing the roofing. And I know it's kind of a standard conditioning question. What do we do about liability for, is there some standard guild information that we can do to protect, the sponsors and the participants and those kind of things for somebody falling off the roof and saying, I'm going to sue you?
Yeah, I mean, we have liability waivers that we could offer as a template. Again, it would be you would have to fill in, if it's your commercial shop or your house or wherever you're hosting this, you would make it clear, either have people sign a liability or have a conversation. But yeah, we can get you a template.
Or you really try and keep volunteers off the roof.
Well, yeah, okay, sure. I've done roofing parties with friends, and there was never any problem. You do it with friends for another friend, and everybody gets the roof done. But you get out in the public view a little bit, and these days, these years, it's worse.
Yeah, well, it's we have a unfortunately we live in a litigious culture with a lot of sue happy individuals, and we don't want anybody to lose their livelihood as a result of that. So I think would make a note to include some of the at least templates in that packet. And again, as any shop or individual that does this professionally or works with other people should have some of that sort of information already on hand. But thank you for that input, Stephen. That's greatly appreciated.
Chris, Chris, this is Bob Meter. These small sheds, that's kind of what I end up doing. And one of the things that I have heard a couple of times during the hour and a half, that we're looking to do something in a weekend. My shed's are certainly not built in a weekend. they're installed perhaps in a weekend. So people that volunteer to get this underway have to realize that, this is not a 10-hour job. There's probably a good time period spent cutting the frame before it's actually ready to be assembled.
So this weekend concept, this thing that could be cut in a 3 to 4, and when I'm talking weekend, I'm talking long weekend, 3 to 4 days, was based on the 8x10 garden shed that we cut at the conference in just a little bit shy of 2 days with 6 people. So that's where that's where this concept of quote unquote weekend came from. So we started that frame on I think we started it Wednesday. And we finished it Thursday afternoon, and it stood through the conference, and we disassembled it Sunday and loaded it on a trailer in about 2 hours.
Yeah, I'm thinking in terms of the 8x8 conference frame back in Burlington that took myself and quite a few other folks all that weekend, and actually we finally got that installed this past August. Actually, I think it was in September. He finally got around to building it, or putting it
Finally got
together,
around to putting
anyways.
it up.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it does. The idea is this is not just we could do this in a half a weekend or a 3-day weekend or something. Particularly if you're going to do like a pavilion where you're looking to have some kind of concrete foundation, perhaps. Um, it just takes a lot of time. That's all I want to get.
And I think
And that's the goal with these, as you look at the designs, they are they're trying to keep the joinery and scale of the projects as small and simple as possible. The bike shed, the bench, and I forget what the other one, or the bench one, a bike shed, and trail sign.
Trail sign.
The trail sign. Those are all in the 4x10 range, 6x6 material, 3x5, 4x6 braces. Small, easily managed sticks with relatively simple joinery. There's no wedged half dovetails. We utilizing half laps in a number of places to simplify things, with the goal to be able to do this. Feeling pretty confident that obviously everybody works at a different pace, and you're not, if you decide to take this on, there's no rule that says, oh, you decided to do this, you didn't finish this in 3 days, sorry, we can't use that. That's not we're
right. You can break it up to your timeline.
If you want to do this, and and it's going to take you 2 long weekends with whatever crew you happen to have, then that's what it takes. But the other thing is being able to coordinate, with the client, or the partner, the community partner, that they understand that they have an obligation too, that, hey, they've got to get a foundation. We're not asking you as a timber framer to do concrete work. That's not something that most timber framers to have knowledge of. And some of the ones that I know, myself included, I have knowledge of it, but there's people that do that professionally, and I'm gonna let them do it because concrete's wet and heavy and kind of sucks. But it's utilizing contacts and to be able to move the project. And I say we'll include some of these ideas in the guideline paperwork as we get that developed. But yeah, you're not obligated to finish it in a weekend.
Yeah. Will, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, these projects can't be finished in just one weekend. By the time you have concrete, curing time, get the frame up, get a roof on it, it's going to stretch more than a weekend. I think what the guild is stressing is cutting the frame, installing the frame, and having it ready, from layout to installation in a long weekend.
Yes.
But you have to have a foundation in the ground, which has to be done a week before. Once the frame goes up, you then have to source whatever roofing is going on that, and that'll depend on the type of structure, the climate, etc., and the purpose. But we're not looking for the whole project to be done in 3 days, but the timber frame portion, a long weekend.
And depending on its use, it could sit on some stones. It might not need concrete for a foundation.
It could, and without permits, you don't need a foundation.
Right.
But
exactly.
But it all depends on use and where it goes and what the purpose is.
The spirit of this is to be more relaxed, not a production situation. We're building community. We're inspiring new people to get involved who might be intimidated to come to a bigger project. So it's one Saturday for an entire, for a month. So it's 4 Saturdays over a month, however you want to space it out, depending on the needs of your community, or who's interested in coming. So I'm probably going to do 2 frames because I have a whole group of women who just want to do a women's build. And then I have a bunch of other youngsters who want this to be their first time intro to timber framing. So we're going to do 2 because there's that kind of interest. So as you start talking about it in your community, it's going to kind of build itself. So as you share this opportunity with people that and other tradespeople that the potential is to grow into something really sweet for your community, and that feels really good to get more people involved. And that might take longer. It's going to take a lot longer to build that little shed because you're spending all the time, you're hanging out, you're having lunch, you're talking about the ins and outs, if they're all beginners. It's going to take longer than a weekend, but we're just framing it as the weekend as kind of like simple, very, very simple, so simple. So that was just the emphasis on that. But yes, there will be logistics that may take a bit longer.
Autumn, I think your point has been made. I just wanted to say that it's the cutting does take a little bit of time.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And I've done a particular a viewing platform, and we did it over 4 or 5 weekends of cutting, and it was done for our open space committee in the town, and something like that is a lot of. Well, I get a lot of. It was done probably 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm still getting comments on it. Thanks.
Yeah, the impact of these projects is large, even though the projects themselves are small. And we as guild members, as passionate pursuers of the craft, we need to we need to do this. We need to get it out there for people to see. Scott was saying that he's seeing a lot of younger people, coming in and doing this and being inspired to do this, and that's fantastic to see. We need that. We need more people coming in and realizing what it is that we do and how we do it. And this is one way to do this. It's we as members kind of have to do some of these things on our own in the community to get to spur the community to take on larger projects once they see what can actually happen, and the guild is there for those larger projects. We need to make people aware of who we are and what it is that we can do.
All right, we do need to wrap it up here soon, but I'd love to hear from anyone who is feeling inspired.
I had one more.
Ask more questions.
Sorry, I had one more small statement or small question, and just for clarification, because in my mind, so a lot of what I've done has been developed by the Mullins and what they do at their fall and spring FTX workshops, and it was good to see Greg and I met Chris and Will and all these great folks there. And I'm, you know, for as long as they'll have me, I'll be there. That's the most wonderful thing. But I just want to clarify or want to be sure that on this, what we're talking about here with the 40/40 may not necessarily be that type of event. What I'm thinking in my mind, if I were to put together a project and open up a weekend, is there potential for guild members and advertisement and things to come and just finish kind of what's working during that weekend, and maybe we scribe in some live edge braces and some things like that to have a little bit of fun, to learn a little bit of stuff, but also meet the goal, understanding that that weekend is not the time to get the frame done. Most of the work probably will be done prior, but am I right in that assumption? In that I should probably plan on a smaller group, or could we advertise to a bigger group and kind of?
Well, so Dan, that part of this is entirely up to you. Again,
Okay.
these projects are run by individuals or individual shops. You know, the guild is there to provide informational support, publicity, and answer whatever questions, whatever questions we can answer. We're there to back you up. If you want to, if you're in your area and you need outreach to people around you that are within an hour or 2 hours to do that, that's what we're with the social media, with the 40 for 40 Facebook group, having that available to put that out. Say, hey, I'm here. I've got this going on this weekend. Here's some things we're thinking about doing. Come down and join. Let us know if you want to head this way. Also, if you're a member, you have access to the guild directory. And I'm sure that between that and between the social media outreach, that there's a way to drive people to your event to do that. And I think that as this, well, I believe that as this starts to pick up steam and people really start to get excited about it, people are going to be looking to that and finding out what's going on around them. Because hey, I got mine done, but so and so here an hour away, they're doing one over there in 2 weeks. I think I'm gonna hang out with them for a weekend, and I'm going to go cut some stuff, and we're going to do another. That kind of thing.
But to the size and the scope of it, the idea is to be manageable and not bite off more than you can chew.
Exactly.
You can make it into what you want to, but don't make it more than you can handle.
Right.
Yeah, that's
We're all really good at that, Greg.
That's perfect advice. I mean, that's obviously what I'd want to do. I mean, the Mullen stuff has been just absolutely amazing. And I can't imagine how much work goes in before and how much work goes in after, but the weekends are so incredibly special for the time that people are there. And it would be incredible if we could replicate that at our shop, just for the weekend, we get what we need to get done. Hopefully it'd be nice to be able to raise like on a Sunday would be perfect, but if not, then that's okay too. But anyway, I just wanted to clarify that to make sure that I'm not, stepping kind of out of the thoughts of 40 for 40 by potentially hosting. I know Stephen Morson's hosted some incredible events that is, down in Georgia or near
here.
And
South Carolina, not Georgia.
South Carolina, sorry. Yeah.
South Kakalaki.
Yeah, South Kakalaki. But yeah, well, really close to Georgia. But anyway, what I wanted to say is, obviously I want to coordinate with them to be sure that we're not doing something on the same weekend, and I think you answered my question, Chris, with the Facebook group. I think that's just going to be the place to kind of centralize. I'm not going to set up something the same weekend. He's going to set up something. I want to go help him. Maybe some of his folks can help us. I think the Facebook group's going to be perfect. Thanks.
And actually, Allison, that's a good reminder, Dan. Allison has a calendar started, so we can kind of track who's doing what when. So we'll make sure that we get that to you guys.
Just to quickly clarify, if Dan was talking about projects that we host once or twice a year, and there's sometimes have 120 or 180, 160 people there. The idea of these 40 for 40 is maybe it's 5 people, maybe it's 10, maybe it's 20, but
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
you're comfortable and organizing, and how much help do you need for the frame you desire to cut.
Right. And that's that's exactly what I was talking about was I don't, I don't have the facilities for 140, but I love the way that you manage kind of a sign up to let me know you're coming, kind of an RSVP kind of thing, so that we can know and handle and have lunches for everybody and just make it a good event and manage the scope of it.
So Dan, one thing that I'd like to comment on that also is, like Greg said, I think it's the same timeline as like a fall FTX, a 3 to 4 day, a little bit shorter, a long weekend, like Chris was saying, but not 100 people, a handful of people, but we can do that. And you're on mute.
Dan, you're muted.
Unmute.
My bad. I was thinking, show up Friday evening. We have space to camp and things like that, but obviously not for that much. Show up Friday, have a great Saturday, Sunday, help for as long as you can, and then motor on. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, or maybe it's a show up.
Somebody else might want to do it, 3 Saturdays in a row, just on Saturdays, just local. There's so many ways you could organize this.
Yeah. The whole thing about this being small, and again, talking about it being something achievable in a weekend, is not, saying, hey, this is a project and we need to be at this with 10 people, 8 hours a day, everybody for a week. That's not the scope or scale of any of these projects. To keep that in mind. Again, with the square footage maximum being under your local permit trigger, because these can happen much more quickly without having to jump through all the permitting hoops, to be able to do. We've got. Obviously, we as the guild have some work to do on getting the information packet, together and ready for distribution. All the input and the comments tonight have been and will be invaluable in drafting that information to make it as complete as we can. And obviously, as hard as we try, we're not perfect, and there may be some things that we miss, or maybe some areas that didn't quite get as clearly defined as we would like. And so we hope that as this moves forward, if you get this information or you need additional information that you're not finding in what we provide, that you don't hesitate to reach out to us and let us know that it's not there, so that we can include that, because you may not be the only one that's wondering where that is. Right. We want to do everything we can to streamline your process as much as possible, so that we can get, that we can get 40 frames up for our 40th anniversary. This is a big year for us. 10, 12 years ago, we weren't even sure if we were going to make it through that year. And we have, and we're still here and we're growing. I would like to see that trend continue. I'm pretty sure that, that most, if not all of the people on here would like to see that same thing. And this is how we do it. Do it by getting involved in our community, helping our community understand what it is that we do, and, being able to give back a little bit, share the knowledge that we've been given, learned through everybody that's come before us in the guild to get the guild to this point. It's our, that's our obligation to pass on that information. We've got a lot of tremendously gifted people have come through this organization, and some that left us, too early. This is we owe this to them to continue to move this forward.
Yeah, too early.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Chris. I was
well,
So definitely keep your eyes open for weekly guild notes. There'll be notes in there, right, Allison? As there's more information available. Also, she's going to continue to populate information on the links that we shared with you on the TF Guild website, and join the Facebook group if you Facebook, so we can talk more amongst ourselves there and
The
share.
calendar is posted there now. There's a
Okay.
link to the Google Calendar, so you can add it to your own calendar and take a look at it as you're planning your own projects. And feel free to message me or Valkyrie, who does our social media, within that group, or shoot us an email, whatever is your easiest form of communication. You can also call us, but we're often tied up, so it can get tricky. You can text, whatever works for you. So yeah, just get in touch and get registered if you want to participate, and we'll work with you to help you figure out what you need. We'll help you find people that are local to you who are guild members too. If you're, you know, if you're looking for a group to work with. I've had a couple people ask already um, for assistance finding members who are likely to want to participate with them. So, yeah.
Thank you, Allison. Allison's done a tremendous amount of work already with
Yep.
logistics on this. So thank you, Allison. We're really, really appreciated. And I'm sure there's more to come.
Oh, yeah.
So. All right, Chris, do you have anything else you want to say? I think we're about at our time.
No, I think I've said all I feel I need to say.
Jackson, we haven't heard from you tonight.
He piped in
Have
for a
anything to
minute.
share, Executive Director?
I am super excited about this and the enthusiasm behind it, and think it's going to be a bunch of great opportunities to get engaged with folks. I would say that, yeah, just to reiterate, if you find yourself needing to consult an engineer or think too much about frost walls and things like that, make sure you join us at our community building project meeting next Wednesday, because there are most certainly certain thresholds at which things begin to cost real money, and need actual professional stamps and things like that. But if you look at these designs, a lot of them were constructed to be able to be set on plinths or stones or a couple of sonotubes. And so we're trying to keep these projects specifically below that level. I totally understand that there's a whole lot lives in the middle between a sign for a trailhead and fire station. There's all manner of other awesome stuff we would love to build for our communities and memorialize people with. But I definitely really want to try to do whatever we can to make this as accessible as can be, and to have just a string of successes this year with this in memorializing folks and celebrating timber framing in our communities. So it's great to see you. That's what I got.
Thank you. That's
All right.
great.
Yep. Thanks to everybody that joined in tonight. If you get a chance, before you sign off, please check the chat for relevant links, as Allison has been continuing to post them. Keep an eye on the Guild webpage. Keep an eye out on your email for Guild notes, and more information upcoming. All right. Thanks all. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thanks.
Have a good night.
Everyone.